Assalamu alaikum. Ways to Jannah number 19. Most of the problems that occur between myself and other people, between yourself and other people, between ourselves as individuals, usually stem from our mouth. Sometimes we don't say things that are good. Sometimes we tend to say things that bring about argument between myself and others, between yourself and others, between ourselves. We tend to argue. We tend to fight. We tend to create that animosity and enmity between ourselves because of what our mouth utters. That's why you find in the Quran, you find in the narrations, the Prophet Sallallahu, alaihi, and Allah Himself warning regarding the tongue. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Isra that وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ إِنَّ السَّمْعَ وَالْبَصَرَ وَالْفُؤَادَ كُلُّ أُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ عَنْهُ مَسْئُولًا. With regards to what you say, you should be very, very mindful. You should be very careful, because whatever it is that you utter, or you see, or you hear, and what you think about, then on the day of judgment, you're going to be questioned. So we should be mindful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, in fact, we've spoken about the ayah of the glorious Quran, the verses of the Quran in the past, in the previous episodes, regarding admittance into Al-Jannah through what we say with our mouth. Now, the Prophet Sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in this very hadith, a very powerful narration, the hadith in which he Sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the hadith of Sahal bin Sa'ad as-Sa'idi, he mentions that who would guarantee me what is between his jaws, that is his mouth, his two lips, that is the tongue, وَمَا بَيْنَ رِجْلَيْهِ, and what's between his legs, meaning his private area, his private parts, أَضْمَنْ لَهُ الْجَنَّةِ, then I would give him the guarantee of Al-Jannah. Subhanallah. So if you're able to give the guarantee of what's in between your lips, that's your tongue, meaning you don't utter except that which is right, and what's in between your thighs, meaning your legs, then the Prophet ﷺ has guaranteed Jannah for you. In essence, you don't use your private area except where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made halal for you. You don't commit illicit relationship. You don't utter that which is evil. For on the day of judgment, these are the very two things that will throw a lot of people to hellfire. The Prophet Sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was speaking to Mu'adh bin Jabal, once after Mu'adh asked him regarding that which would admit him into Al-Jannah and that which would kind of distance him from hellfire. The Prophet Sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after telling him the most vital things, then he reverted back to that very thing that usually takes people to hellfire. Then he brought out his tongue and he said, you should be careful what comes out from this. Then Mu'adh bin Jabal radiallahu anh said to the Prophet Sallallahu alaihi wasallam, are we going to be held accountable with what comes out from our mouth? The Prophet Sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Thakilatka ummuka ya Mu'adh. May your mother lose you, O Mu'adh. It's not an insultive word. For them, this is how they tend to say, don't you understand? So it's like he Sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, don't you understand, O Mu'adh? What is it that will take a lot of people to hellfire other than what is coming out from their mouth and also their private area? The Prophet Sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned, like I said, in many narrations regarding our tongue, regarding our private area. So one who is able to guarantee the Prophet Sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in essence, he doesn't utter except what would be pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he doesn't commit illicit relationship with his private area or with her private area, then the Prophet ﷺ has given the guarantee of Al-Jannah to that very person. In fact, Umar radiallahu anhu related a very powerful narration with regards to the tongue. He said, all the limbs, every single day, from the Prophet ﷺ, of course the narration, they warn the heart, because the heart is the king of the body. Telling the heart, if you are firm, if you are very, very steadfast, then istaqamna, we also will be steadfast. And وَإِنْ إِعْوَجَجْتَ, then إِعْوَجَجْنَا. If you tend to be weak and destructive in nature, then we all would be destructive, or would all be destroyed. Then the heart itself will talk to the tongue, and it will tell the tongue, you are the leader. You better hold yourself, otherwise you lead us to destruction or you lead us to salvation. So let's get to the salvation of the Prophet Sallallahu alaihi wasallam by him Sallallahu alaihi wasallam giving us the guarantee. If we can guarantee what comes out from our mouth and what is in between our legs, then we will be admitted into Al-Jannah. May Allah make Al-Jannah our abode. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.